This will be talking about how to auction house snipe cars successfully, all the tips and tricks you guys need to know to be able to use the auction house is a very effective tool to not only get any kind of rare car you want, but also make a lot of money easily and quickly in game. So now guys, let's go on and get started with the video and exactly what you all will need to know. I'll be addressing probably between 6 and 8 very useful tips that will apply to you whether you're new to the game or not, and of course all this will be applicable to PS5 players. So firstly, let's go on and look on the auto show and let's talk about valuable cars. So if you go on and go sort, you can pretty much sort by value, and what this will do is provide a very good emphasis on what pretty much all of the rarest and most expensive cars in the game look like. And in terms of the auto show, you guys can see that virtually all of them are vintage cars. They have huge ticket prices but have virtually very little demand on the auction house, mainly because of the fact that a lot of these have been easily gotten for free by people using their auto show car vouchers. So for example, let's look at a car like the Jaguar D-Type. This car would usually cost 22 million credits on the auto show, but for instance, if we go in and look at this car on the auction house, we'll see, I can imagine there'll be a very significant change in value, which is always good to capitalize on if you guys want a cheap way of being able to get one of these cars. You can see they only go for around 2 million credits. That's first thing. Keep in mind when you guys get these old vintage cars, they're worth a lot more than you think, but on the same hand, don't buy them from the auto show when you can get them for a lot cheaper on the auction house. Now, a very easy and simple tip is the fact that when you guys are on the auction house, I see a lot of new players when they're trying to snipe cars, doing it very slow and sluggishly by clicking into the car. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So for example, once the car loads up, they'll click into it, load the auction details, wait for it to load, then go buy out, then buy out the car. This is what a lot of people do. People have done this for months before they realize some way quicker way of doing it. Simply on your controller, click Y, or on PS5 it'd be pretty similar, and you can get the menu up to instantly buy it from here without having to spend a lot of time going into the car animation screen. This will save you a lot more time than what you think, and when you guys are trying to snipe cars in the auction house that are competitive, a lot of people are trying to snipe these cars, time is everything. Every single millisecond you waste will decrease the likelihood of you guys being successful. Now, of course, on PC, it's going to be similar. It's going to be Y as well. On PS5, it'd be a similar button to Y on the controller as a bit of point of variance. But that's a small tip. Make sure you guys are doing it like this when you're sniping cars, because you guys can do it as quick as I, and you go Y like this, boom, snipe a car. You do it much more quicker when you guys are doing it like this, and you don't have to click into the car and wait for all of the animations to load. Now, number 3, we'll be going through auction house filters. So you can click X and go in advanced and see a lot more filters. Most of them aren't too relevant. Make and model, self-explanatory. That's what you would use to find a specific car or a manufacturer. If you just want BMWs or you want a specific BMW, these two are the ones you'll look for. Now, performance class, not too many people will be using this unless you're using it for X-class cars or something. You only want top upgraded cars, then it could make sense, but ultimately that kind of filter is just not too popular or useful, generally speaking. Same with car type. I mean, you could be looking for an X and also, let's say, a hypercar. This could be a useful filter, but when it comes to auction house sniping, you'll usually be a little bit more specific. Max bid, of course, will determine what the maximum minimum bid should be on a car for it to show, but max buyout is very, very important. This is one of the most key tools you can use in your auction house sniping, because when you're sniping cars, you're trying to get them as soon as they pop up, you want to make sure you're not accidentally buying one that's a very high price. So what I mean by that is that if you guys are sniping a car, and I'll show you an example, a car like the Ferrari SF90, it's a car that's so rare that you'd virtually ever see them in the auction house. So if you did see one, you'd be inclined to try to buy it immediately, but you might actually have missed the fact that someone's listed up for 20 million credits, which is the maximum amount of credits you can list a car for in the game. So if you've purchased a car for 20 million that you were trying to snipe, well look, you can't resell for any more. So you'd want to make sure you're using a max buyout filter of 11 million, making sure only cars with a price tag of 11 million and below would show. So if you do need to snipe a car quickly, you don't have to worry about what the price is. You know it's going to be below 11 million. And if it's a really rare car, there's a good chance it's got a guaranteed flip for 20 million. So you don't really have to worry about that. It's an easy minimum 9 million credit profit you guys can make right off the rip. So that's going to be by far the most important filter you'll be referring to the most. Beyond that, none of these are too important unless you're just trying to find a very specific car or from a certain person. Now, what I will say is gamer tag is pretty important when you're trying to buy or sell a car to someone you know in particular. You guys can see that's quite relevant for me because I've got a prestige 10 account with 900 million credits, the rarest or highest level you guys can possibly get in the game, as well as 100 million super wheel spins. And you might be wondering how. Well, you guys can get the same. You might want to check out my channel, head to my bio to learn more. You guys can get this with instant delivery, tens of thousands of Trustpilot reviews, and of course for PS5, Xbox, PC, and more. credits, rare cars, and more, as well as a few more things coming soon. So check that out if you guys are interested. But now let's get on to the next tip, which is pretty much about supply and demand. Now, supply and demand is most relevant with Horizon Festival Players cars, because each time a new car is added to the game, that'll represent a point at which where probably the most people will be unlocking this car at any time than what you'll ever see. So for instance, this week's car is a Ferrari SF90 Stradale, where otherwise is a very rare car. There'll be hundreds, if not tens of thousands of people who are unlocking this car this week. So imagine how many people have gone from not getting one of these for months on end since it was last out of the game last year to suddenly getting one. A lot of people who either already have the car or just want to be able to get rid of it to make some money will be listing these for sale. That's where supply and demand is relevant in the auction house, and also with prices, because supply and demand dictates what the max or minimum buyout price can be on a car. So for example, last week there were probably 100 SF90s that sold in a matter of days. Now there'll be thousands, so as a result the price will go down because of how many are coming into the market. So if you guys are able to buy a bunch of these this week while so many people are unlocking them and instantaneously selling them, you'll be able to stack up these cars, and then from next week onwards, or let's say in a couple months, when the amount of people obtaining these cars has slowed down so significantly because no more events are on, you'll be able to resell these cars for significantly more. And here is an example of me trying to sign up an SF90. Did I get it? Failed. I gave it a try though, but what you can see is that 1.2 million credits, that's all that's being asked for this SF90, yet in a few months from now, the minimum you'll really ever see these going for will be 10 to 20 million credits. So it's a good indication as to what to expect, because right now so many people have them, they're so easy to get, but in a few months from now, when there's no weekly Horizon Festival players, they'll be very difficult to obtain. Now, another way to be able to get cars you guys not only want, but also for the purpose of sniping them, is by looking for more desirable cars. So what I kind of mean by that are fan favorites. For example, the Bugatti Chiron, the Bugatti Divo, cars from the auto show that are very, very easy to get via buying them, but a lot of people want to try get at a cheaper price from the auction house. For example, we can look at a bunch of these. At the FXXK is a good example. Cars like the Ferrari F50 GT, probably not so much. It's going to be more newer hypercars. The Jesko is definitely an example. Any of these Koenigsegg's are all very highly desirable. A lot of people want these, and what you guys can see is that you'll often be able to get these at a huge discount through the auction house instead of through the auto show. For example, a classic is going to be the Bugatti Divo. This car costs 3 million credits on the auto show, and guess how much it costs on the auction house? You'd probably think, well, maybe a little bit of a discount, maybe a little bit less. No guys, you can buy a Divo on the auction house for 400,000 or 500,000 credits buyout. If you want us to be patient, I could bid on this for 300,000 and win it. 300,000 credits to buy this car versus 3 million. It's a way cheaper and easier way to get cars, but it's also a way you can resell cars for slight profit. And just quickly, most of you watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel, so if you want to help us hit 150k and stay up to date with the best Forza glitches, content, news, and more, be sure to tap that button. It really helps out a lot. Let's go to the Chiron and I'll point this out to you. So you guys can see these will typically be going for around 3 million credits, and these have a lot of bidders. A lot of people want to try get one of these cars at a discount versus what they usually pay on the auto show. And a good way to try find these, let's say you want to get one of these for 2 million, you'd use the max buyout filter. Because if I can get one of these for 2 million or less, I can resell it for around 3 million and make a pretty good profit. So using this max buyout filter, as soon as someone lists one of these Chirons cheaper, I can get in the middle and snipe one of these. The fact that none of these are up shows that any below 2 million get sold quickly, which means ones above there, you have a good chance of being able to resell it to make a decent profit. So use these kind of filters, find desirable cars and resell those, because they're often easier to snipe and get than rare cars, because there's a lot more of cars that the Bugatti Chiron from the auto show in circulation than rare cars at the event store SVJ. Here's another tip when it comes to sniping cars with the ending soon tag, because this is probably a lot more deceiving than what you think. The ending soon tag will show for cars once they go below 1 minute, but it's actually a little bit misleading because it's not 1 minute to go or less. There are 2 thresholds. As soon as a car goes from having 60 seconds to 40 seconds to go, the ending soon threshold or tag will show on that car. Then at 20 seconds, there will be the final ending soon threshold, which represents the final point at which you can bid on a car. So pretty much in the last 1 minute of a car being on the auction house, once ending soon goes, you know that means there are 2 more bids. So as soon as you see ending soon, there will be 1 more bid between 40 and 20 seconds it will go through, and there'll be 1 more from 20 seconds onward. Because you guys might have seen before, when you're trying to bid on these cars, it takes a while before you see a competing bid come up, and that's because it's limited. So I'll go and bid on a bunch of these cars with ending soon, or at least about to be ending soon, and you'll see my fact that not too many people can bid on these cars and ending soon, only 2 in particular, 1 in 40 seconds and 1 in 20 seconds. So my point is that you need to time your bids well. If your car is 1 or 2 minutes left and you get a little bit you start panicking thinking, oh, I'm gonna get outbidded, guys, you gotta chill out and take a step back. wait until the last 20 seconds. You can literally time it. You can time a car from when it goes 1 minute to go or 1 minute remaining to ending soon. You can time the 40 or 20 second difference. If you guys get good with your bid to be the very last minute within that 20 seconds, what you'll find is that no one can outbid you because you've used the last threshold. So place your bet in at either 40 seconds to go or 20 seconds to go, and it'll pretty much will guarantee you'll be able to win. If you're putting your bid in at 2 minutes, you're pretty much putting yourself in a position to lose. Now, obviously, I'm not in a good representation because I'm in the overall auction where there are so many auctions going on, you can't even keep track of them. But realistically, if you're trying to do this properly, you'd probably go to a single or main manufacturer to find a lesser group of cars. Let's say it might even just go for one specific BMW. But I hope you guys understand my point, is that when a car is ending soon, it's a little bit misleading because ending soon means 40 seconds to go and 20 seconds to go and represents 2 bids. So keep that in consideration, or comment down below if you have questions about how that works. Now, when it comes to sniping rare cars, it's a pretty simple game. It's just a matter of patience. Like I said before, guys, you just want to pretty much stay and enter, going in and out until one pops up. Put it on max buy filter. Maybe we'll get some TikToks or get a YouTube movie going or something like that, because you guys want to be pretty patient. Usually when you're trying to snipe rare cars like this, quite a few of them will show per hour. You might see 10 to 15 show up in total, which gives you guys a good opportunity to at least get maybe 3 of them. And if you guys are getting 3 rare cars like SF90s, which you can sell for 20 million each, that's 60 million credits profit per hour. Sniping cars is by far the most lucrative way to make money in Forza. The difference between sniping cars and glitches, however, is that sniping cars is not guaranteed. Some hours you might get 0 cars, and other times you might get 10. Whereas glitches are consistent and easy, with the exclusion of them getting patched, of course. But generally, there's a lot more consistency in glitches than there is with rare cars and sniping them, because like I said, it goes up and down, and you need to be very patient. Now, one recommendation I'd also have is that make sure you're always trying to snipe cars in the auction house of the festival playlist. Do not do it at your house. You can often go My Horizon, then go to the auction house there. Do not do that. The reason being is that for whatever reason, there's a slightly higher input lag at the auction house at your house versus the garage. Don't ask me why, but for whatever reason, since Forza Horizon 3, that has been a thing. And what I mean by input lag, it pretty much means less loading time. So by the time you click confirm to when a car loads, this will be longer at your house than it will be in the general festival playlist on the auction house for whatever reason. So when you guys are sniping cars, of course, every second is crucial. So if you want to mitigate the likelihood or mitigate your lags or delays, make sure you guys are doing it at the auction house at the festival to increase your likelihood of being successful. That's pretty much it, guys. These are the main auction house sniping tips. From 1, vintage cars, making the most of their value. Buying hypercars, instead of buying them at auto show, use the auction house, and a few extra tips with using filters and more. And like I said, guys, if you want to know why I've got 1 billion super wheel spins, the highest level in the game and more, you guys can go in and check out my channel, learn more, or the bio or pinned comment, and stay tuned for a lot more PS5 content coming out soon.